Hi, and welcome to another exciting edition of Scarlet, Betch. I'm Jason.
And I'm Anthony.
Today, we're going to be starting off our conversation with, I guess, the much lauded big gay reveal in the DC universe, which was the the reveal that Alan Scott is our new official superhero in the DC universe.
Yeah.
I know we all saw the the previews. So it was I think it was 2 or 3 pages, but then we got to see there wasn't a whole lot more with Alan Scott in that issue, but I did have a few thoughts about his boyfriend Samuel and things that made me unhappy. But I first wanted to get your response or your experience with Earth 2.
So, I think Earth 2 is an awesome book, just as a whole thing. I think it's going interesting places. I think it's doing interesting things with the characters. I like that there are 2 Mr. Fantastics who are enemies. That's cool. I don't hate the Flash as much as I did after the first issue, because I really didn't like him. I was like, this is horrible. I don't want to read about this character, but this book I was like, no, okay, I get it. He's fun. Yeah, I guess I really like the universe. I like that sort of thing. I dislike, especially because I just saw a preview for a book that's coming out for colored boys. That's all about the gay experience for people of color. And it raised some really valid points that I was like, yeah. I read today's issue of Kevin Keller, and they introduced a second gay character, and guess what? Wasn't blonde, but still white.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I actually mean to say they introduced a third gay character.
Yeah, that's true.
So the second one wasn't blonde, but he doesn't exist yet. So I did like that they introduced a character of color.
Mm-hmm.
A gay character of color, but then they killed him.
Well, we don't know that. So, yeah, okay.
Don't know that,
yeah. So,
which is why I am. So that I see people reading that, because my friend Nathan was like, "Oh, gays on a train? What? Women in the refrigerator?
Yeah, yeah,
and
exactly."
And I was like, "Well, that's not what I was hoping for, because this character literally had 3 pages of appearance before his untimely demise, quote unquote. B, it's a magic train explosion."
Mm-hmm. Wait, well, so just for those of you catching up who haven't read, maybe, so Samuel is, Alan Scott's Hong Kong boyfriend, who I assumed was Chinese, because I thought that he looked like, but some people on Facebook were like, he's racially ambiguous. I'm like, I don't think so, but that's just me. So Samuel, who's ostensibly this person of color. That's
what I have to say. I feel like there are a lot of artists who can't draw East Asian people, because there's the skin palette is not different than Caucasian characters, I would argue. And
we're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. But yeah, so as I was saying with Samuel, I thought it was hilarious that that Alan Scott poses as Samuel 2 pages into us knowing this character. That in the light of the North Star Kyle engagement, I was like, whoa, DC Marvel competing gay engagements. I was like, what? Why? It felt forced. And it was really clear, at least for the setup, at least for me, the setup was like, oh, this is Alan Scott, this is his boyfriend's soon to be, fiance, and they're gonna kill him because he has to have this tragic, origin story. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I think a lot of people had the same thing. Women in refrigerators, gays on a train. I think there's just and then if you compare, Samuel and Kyle, both being boyfriends of color, of superpowered white folk. Although, to be fair, Northstar is like half fairy or whatever, so I think he's weird. But I'm not sure if you consider that of color, because he's like sparkly and rainbowy.
Ethnic minority.
Whatever. So but like you have these boyfriends of color who are feminized, who are weak, and are like normal and can't defend themselves and are constantly being put in this like damsel in distress situation, or damsel in refrigerator situation, and it's just like well, what? And on one hand, it's like, okay, I can see like that these gay characters, these gay protagonists are being treated like equally, and so far as like really really tired like storytelling tropes are being used to like for the plot. But it's sad because there's like so much more that can be done with them, and I think
it's like when you watch the A-list and you're like, God, we do have equality.
I know, right? But so like granted, like we still have yet to see what's gonna happen, but like given the cover for the next issue where it's Alan Scott covered in flames and screaming, it doesn't look good for Samuel, and I think at best we can expect him to be reborn as an evil villain. That's like
and that's why I was so excited. Okay, let's talk about the Dawala effect. The Dawala effect is something that emerged in BSG and was the most blatant in the Dawala episode where she dies, which is when things start going your way, you're off the show. When you get some nice resolution, you're dead, girl. So that was in full effect, like you pointed out. You get a proposition on a schmancy train with your billionaire boyfriend, yeah, you dead. You dead. B, it was awesome that they had like the proposal effect because he's holding a ring when things crash. So I don't know where he got this ring. Yeah. And you see a green flash in the train. So something's happened, and so I'm assuming my own perspective is that it's the ring. That he's holding the ring and the ring up in.
I also want to know how much they're going to honor Alan Scott's like magical like background because of the Green Lanterns. Like he's kind of a weird Green Lantern. He's not like a space policeman. Like he in the original kind of background story, he like finds this like magic lantern, like forges a ring or whatever, and he's all like magical and shit, and he shoots fire, and so it's like he has like a very like different. I mean, he can still make hard light contrast and stuff, but it's not part of like he's not an official member of the Green Lantern Corps or whatever. So it's like he's like this like weird magic person. I wonder like how much that's going to be reflected.
Based almost completely on the cover of the next issue, and that like you said, the magical fire aspect, and based on the like that last panel that we have, I think it's going to be pretty much the same. Like he is the hapless owner of this magical artifact, and it looks like it's about to save him with green fire. Like everything else is going up in orange flames, and then the green fire is like not only protecting him but vaulting him into this metahuman state. So I assume it's just he's gonna be like all magic all the time. Especially because they already have like Hawk Girl is the sci-fi character, right?
Yeah.
She's the alien. And she's got her magic cool gun and her like crazy bodice armor and like space helmet. So I assume she's still spacey. And then Alan Scott can be all magical. I think it's going to be the same. It would be interesting if they ended up tying it to the other stuff. But again, like the universe divide. Everything's so. One of the best things about Earth 2 is that it's this whole other universe. You can totally inhabit it. And do everything differently and a different take on everything. I love that. I also did want to mention something about character deaths, especially because it was so early.
Yeah,
like, we don't say, and this is a thought I had, and it's not foolproof. There's a million holes you can poke in it, but we don't say that like the Wayne's death was like white people in an alley.
Yeah.
Oh, those white people always go. All those dumb writers killing people in alleyways. Oh, rich people, they just always
couple of flies.
So, I think especially because it's so early, and because they established him as this I mean, I think they established that there's a relationship there. If they're going to explore the past of this character, Sam's going to be a huge part of it. And so I think, especially because there's, and I've said this, I think I've mentioned it on the blog, but I don't know. It may be in a past one. I'm so hoping Sam's going to be half of Rose Thorn, and the other half's going to be a lady. I want that so bad. I want it so bad. And so when he died, I was like, great, we finally get this. Or like, it was like, so his death was a strike toward what I wanted for the character, which was to be free to have a really angst-filled relationship with a trans villain. So,
fingers crossed. We can only find out. I just would like. It was because I was so excited about this, queer Asian character in comic books that we don't really get to see, like, almost never, like Karma, and I can't think of any others in superhero comics, to be perfectly frank. Maybe Batwoman's magical girlfriend, kind of.
Yes.
One. Although she's but like other than that, I'm like, oh, that's awesome, it'll be great. But then I'm like, okay, never mind. So we'll see how it goes.
When I found out that they were proposing that first issue, like you said, it sounded forced, like they were competing with Marvel. Mm-hmm. But I was also like, I thought Glee handled very well, like, continuing to find drama in a marriage relationship, because so often I see TV shows and comic books and things get people married and then go like, oh, we can't do anything because they have idealized lives, and in idealized lives, no problems occur after marriage. Therefore, there's no stories to tell. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of like, oh no, is he going to be like the married character, and they don't have to do this sexuality because there's a husband, and because that's what happened in Authority with Apollo and Midnighter. Yeah. Midnighter just had no sexuality because he had a husband at home, and Apollo became a sexless wife. Like, that's all he was. Yeah. He did nothing. He painted pictures of fruit. Literally, that's what he did. So I've really enjoyed what they're doing in Stormwatch now, where they've like taken it back. And isn't that what happened in Stormwatch this week? I
haven't been reading Stormwatch, so I don't really know.
Read it. The issue is all about Apollo and him being like having problems with the relationship and like the bits and pieces of their stuff, their shit. And I enjoy it. I think it's a good direction. I think it's a good direction because it's a story, and it's an interesting way of talking about coming out, because the coming out story is kind of the most stereotypical story that gay people have to share. But it's a story that every gay person has, and to them is the most interesting thing. And after you've heard or seen about 5 people's coming out stories, you're like, yeah, I guess we've run the gamut now. Yeah. And it's all just going to be repeats. But it seems like a new take on ideas of coming out and outness and things like that in kind of a superhero context. So I really enjoyed that about Stormwatch this week. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. I couldn't remember that until just now. But yeah, I did not like that because Alan Scott is so blonde and white. Yeah.
I also was like, just coming from Sam's perspective. So Alan Scott is like, hey baby, I love you, and I think we should get married. And I think that the way that we spend time together, it's for, like, we both are, like moguls of multi-billion dollar, companies, multinational companies. I think that you should move your headquarters to America, because I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. That would be like the most.
You're being a dick now.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's like the most patronizing and like gendered like no, I'm not gonna I'm the fucking CEO of my own business. I'm not gonna like uproot myself from like my headquarters and move it all the way across America for no apparent reason just so that I can be with you. That's stupid.
Totally stupid. Yeah, you're right. He was starting out that conversation being a dick, and actually before he whipped out the ring, I was like, are they going to have an argument about that? Because I don't know. It seemed super weird. He was like, let's stop this whole running around and settle in my penthouse.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty sure that's not what's happening.
Yeah. And also, if you're like a bazillionaire, like, honestly, like, if you have a freaking private jet, or have you ever heard of GoToMeeting? Like, I mean, I know it's a different universe, but like, there is teleconferencing,
Possibly. There definitely is, based on that scene of the city that they showed us. Yeah, yeah, that's a very good point, and I'd forgotten about that. He's being a superhero. He is a superhero. See, he's a huge dickhead.
Yeah.
There you
Congratulations.
go. Yeah. Like I said, I'm very excited, and I hope this isn't the. I hope that Sam died, but I hope it's not the end of Sam.
Yeah.
Because I think that it'll be nice to have. I think it'll be nice for Alan Scott to have some angst driving him, much like Batman has angst driving him. But
yeah, I just wish that I just wish the whole thing with Sam wasn't so truncated. You know, I wish I would have liked to see, like, because I mean honestly, like I don't. If I wasn't me, you know, I don't think I would necessarily care so much about Sam because we like don't know him at all.
Yeah.
And so like I think the whole like tragic origin story is kind of cheapened because like we don't care about like any of these characters yet, you know?
And so for me, from two different perspectives. From the perspective of the origin story, Batman's origin story was never told in his first issue. That was something we got in like backstory.
Yeah.
And so I think for that, like the whole time we've known Batman, his parents have been dead, and that's the thing that drives him, and that's always been the thing that drives him. Like just from the perspective of like the history of the character. And so from that perspective, I think that's better than having like, oh, this character, I created it, and it needs some driving force, so I'll kill someone close to it. That'll be a great way to motivate. No, that's bad.
Yeah, it's just bad storytelling. That's really what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I like that we didn't get much Sam development as the motivating character. I like that from the perspective of Sam is a queer character of color, and we don't have any of those. And I would like to have that character be around and be developed. That pissed me off.
Yeah. Oh, aside, this is kind of a tangent on queer marriages in comic books. So this is I think for the wedding issue of Astonishing X-Men 51, they have like a variant that's like it's like a make your own wedding album kind of thing. So it has like a blank little place to put your own wedding photo, and all these other comic book weddings all over, including, you know, North Stars, and I was just like looking through like all the pictures of the couples, and like this is like a really bad, like this is like every single one of these couples is divorced, dead, hates each other, or like, because I mean I was like, oh look, there's Jean and Cyclops. Oh wait, that ended horribly. Oh wait, look, there's Quicksilver and what's her elemental girl? Like Crystal. That ended horribly. Like,
I would argue that Jean ascended to a higher state of being, but yeah, you're right. It did she died.
Yeah, and then there was like, oh, like Professor X and like Lilandra, and she's dead. Okay, this is not going to end up happily. This is just like
characters I don't care about. Lilandra, all the Shi'ar Empire. Please, I don't care. But Reed Richards and Sue Richards are still together.
That's true. The first family, they're good.
Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, hopefully they'll do cool shit with Kyle and Northstar. But yeah, I was expecting Kyle fully to be like a robot now. After the Owlflight storyline, and they were like, no, we found a way to turn everyone back, and I was like, lame. Lame. They need superpowers. Yeah. So. But yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else you wanted to shout out Supurbia before we? Yeah, it was good.
So good. So good. Oh my gosh! And then Hela doing her crazy blood magic to save her boyfriend, and then like her ex being all like, "Sure, Hela, I'll do you a favor, but you owe me." And then like. He basically just like had his goblins be like, okay, pretend to attack Superman, and then pretend to lose, okay? so that he doesn't think that we just rescued him. And they're like, okay, Bob. That was amazing. These are all spoilers. Sorry, maybe I should have said that at the beginning. the part where Wonder Woman character called her son an abomination.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, so good.
Yeah, no, and it was that was like really gratifying because like, I mean, as some of our faithful readers might know, it's like the son of Wonder Woman is something that's always been really close to my heart, and so we have this kind of like son of Batu, and so it was that was I just ate that up because it was all about like, you know, gender and, you know,
Yup. And being a third gender, it was such a queer storyline.
yeah.
And I love Zari, how like astute she is, and she's always thinking on her feet and stuff. And her mom is like Vixen, and I love that there's like this expanded role for the spouses, and like it's gonna be like the intel side of things, because I feel like so many of the new kind of minority characters that are in the Avengers franchise are the administration. There's like Victoria Hand, Maria Hill, Sharon Carter, and I realize many of these characters have been around for decades, but I feel like they have kind of a more revitalized role, and so it's going to be awesome to have a story, a comic book. If it comes back, please come back, Supurbia. Why did you end when you got so good? And I thought they were going to beat up the old evil woman who's running everything. And by woman, I mean robot. But then they didn't, and she won. And I was like, what? No. I wanted to come back.
Well, I mean, who knows? I
Boom. I'll buy your shit. What do you need? How many copies do you need me to buy?
Which is so funny because I never buy anything from Boom because I'm like, oh, it's just gonna be kiss and ass and it's gonna be boring. But this was actually really good. So good job, Boom.
My favorite part about Supurbia is the cover is, well, I guess maybe it's not necessarily tits and ass. There is always tits all over that cover. They're generally like covered, unlike the rest of Boom. And then you open it, and like the credits page has some maybe it's Hella from like one picture that was there was one picture of her that was like
she's all like covered up and shit, like with her little in bed. Yeah.
Like, let me wear a sheet over my bulging bosom. And that was the one. Every other time, people are just normal.
Yeah.
And like get ass and like, yeah, it was awesome. I loved like the hint of the development of the secrets of like, what's his name, the Flying Fox or whatever.
Oh, Night Fox. I thought it was Night Fox and like Agent Twilight, which I thought was a weird, stupid name.
It's ridiculously dumb. B, I love it because it's Twilight, and that's a word now. Agent Twilight, and he's like a total stud. Like, oh, like hot guys.
I also like the relationship between like that's not a three-way relationship, but you know,
it's a three-way relationship.
Yeah,
And like at the end, they were like, "I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up." That was so cool. Oh my goodness, I love it.
It reminded me of GCB.
Oh my god. So evidently, like the first season just came out on DVD, and I'm kind of like, I don't want to buy it, but part of me is like, I want the show to be uncanceled.
Was it canceled? I didn't know that.
It was so canceled.
Oh wow, that sucks.
Oh, it super sucks because it got so good at the end. I didn't necessarily like the pilot, but I was like, I'll come back and watch another episode. And it just took off.
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't get involved because like there's so much media, like TV shows that I will watch over and over and over again because they have the slimmest of tiniest of gay plots, and like Desperate Housewives was one of them, and I was really bitter about that, and so I was like, I'm not gonna watch GCB because I know I've seen this, this has happened to me before. I'm not gonna do it.
But see, and that's the thing, because I don't know if he did have, because every storyline with Pepper, was it? I don't remember her name. Every storyline with the wife in some way involved like the fact, because it was her secret, right?
Yeah.
As well as his secret. It was like their relationship. And so every one of her storylines like reflected that. And so in some ways, yeah, I mean, the story was about her more than him. And there were some episodes where he wasn't in the show, and there were no episodes where she was not there. But it was like a constant presence, and it was interesting the way characters addressed it, and I just also liked everyone else's storylines. So I'll come up with so many reasons to justify why they did gay better than Desperate Housewives did gay. And the sole reason is I liked
Cool. Well, I guess this wraps up this issue of Scarlet Betch. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back soon.